Ebooks in school libraries have been a significant game changer in how services are delivered to students. The goal of a school library is to respond to the learning ecology within that school, and ebooks are certainly perfectly positioned to do that even more. The great things about ebooks are they can be checked out at any time. There are no limitations of uh, hours, days, months, seasons. They can be checked out anytime with an account. Students have already been using ebooks, so they're already familiar with that process. In fact, in information databases, which school libraries have been using for some times, ebooks have been embedded into those information databases. I believe that schools with a bring your own device policy are perfectly positioned to use ebooks even further. Students can just simply download the book of their choice on their phone. And speaking of that, not only can they can download multiple books on a single device, or they can have the convenience of reading that book across several devices. So students who use laptops, iPads, iPhones can read the book online and it will take them to the last page read. That is a significant convenience. The U.S. Department under Obama thought so much of the impact of ebooks that they funded Bookshare for students with special needs. Ebooks, particularly with the capability of e-ink, can focus on the present page, not the pages to come, and that's significant for struggling readers. So ebooks can accommodate students with a variety of reading abilities and preferences. For all the advantages that ebooks offer, there are some serious detractors. One of the most serious detractor could be the librarian herself, who's responsible for integrating ebooks into the library program in the first place. The sentimental clinging to physical books can really stagnate the progress of ebooks in a program. Some of the opinions that they hold are it's just easy to put a print book in a kid's hand. Many students have limited access to e-reading devices. Students may prefer print books over ebooks as an escape to the technology that they use all the time everywhere. One other serious detractor is the author who refuses to release e-versions of their work, and there are many. Besides that, there are the library vendors who complicate matters with digital licensing, contract negotiating, formats in which ebooks may or may not be compatible, and just device management for ebooks, all proposed to be hurdles if not navigated well. There are two very respected school librarians who both have a significant online presence. I'd like to share their experiences. Carol Foote of Westlake High in Austin, Texas, has a significant amount of experience in implementing a school ebook program in her library, and her experience has been her avid readers will check out an ebook and read it, but they won't be a repeat user of ebooks. So there's some sort of disconnect that ebook publishers would be well benefited or wise to dig in a little bit deeper to try to figure out what the reading trends and the reading habits of her patrons are. That's worth some exploration. So I'm certainly keeping my eyes on that. So for now, she says she's going to continue her ebook program, but she's going to significantly pull together a free and an otherwise nominal cost or minimal cost ebook collection program. And certainly you can't blame her, but it's certainly worth noting and keeping an eye on. Another experience is Buffy Hamilton. People will know her by her web name, The Unquiet Librarian. Miss Hamilton published on her school library website uh, instructions for students downloading ebooks. And she was contacted by Amazon, who developed a policy based on how she was implementing her program. And I thought that was significant for a large ebook vendor to look at this school librarian's website in her program and develop a policy that would be restrictive. So she absolutely created a post in response to why Amazon and the Kindles wouldn't be used further in her school library. I thought that was significant, because if vendors are truly interested in developing and promoting ebooks for school libraries, that certainly is a trend that we don't want to see expanding. So I'm keeping my eyes out on the experiences of these two prominent librarians. I respect them. They implement, in my view, sound practices and policies. Much of the country's library programs are in line or model after a lot of what they do, so it's worth noting. There are a few areas that are going to be critical if ebooks in school libraries are to move forward. They certainly demand, again, exploration and development. One of them is the fostering of small independent publishers and the partnership that they have with school libraries. School libraries have a symbiotic relationship with the small independent publisher, much in the way university presses have with colleges. And so if those relationships are strengthened, that's going to be very good for ebooks, as they've been more responsive to school libraries than the big giant library vendors. They often have personal relationships with school librarians, and that can be valuable in feedback and information flowing both ways to tweak the ebooks in years to come. Another area is going to be important, and that is e-reader development in cost, in logistics, all of it. Children's literature is different than, I would say, even juvenile literature versus adult literature. So the e-reader, whether it is going to be touchscreen, interactive, keypad, whatever, it's going to have to be good, and it's going to have to be low cost, because the way to propel ebooks is eventually to make it affordable on a one-to-one basis, and that means not a lot of money per device. So that's going to be critical. Another area is librarians are going to have to get good in promoting ebooks. They are invisible. They are not something physical that a kid can go to the shelf and find. So they are often hidden from the student patron as they visit the libraries. A lot of times students like to browse and there's no presence for an ebook. So How to promote the ebook is going to be a challenge. Also, a serious challenge, and I can speak to it on a personal note, is training a campus how to locate, download, and access an ebook. And for a librarian who is um, a staff of one or very few, that's no small feat. So ebook vendors are going to have to uh, provide the best procedures for making that happen and providing support in other ways. Training a campus how to use an ebook is not simple in its current state. It needs further development. The future of ebooks should promise students something wonderful. They shouldn't just replicate the physical counterpart with a simple PDF file presentation. In fact, some publishers are already catching on. Their ebooks feel more like an app than a traditional book, and certainly we need more of that. The new ebook should be prepared to be multimodal, offering videos, maps, quizzes, read aloud capabilities, seamless access to relevant content over the internet. And some of that has already started, but we should be dreaming and thinking and building more. Successful future vendors will offer content and support for that content so that it is easy to use and it is usable over multiple platforms. I certainly have high hopes for ebooks in school libraries in the future.